The Supreme Court just dealt a major blow to the firearms industry involving the Second Amendment, and this could have nationwide consequences. And I guarantee you right now, anti-gun states are likely celebrating. The court declined to hear a major Second Amendment case involving New York's effort to hold gun manufacturers and dealers liable for crimes committed by third parties. So what does this mean for you? How is this going to affect us? And why are gun rights advocates calling this a dangerous warning sign? This is something you got to pay attention to. So let's break this down. The case is National Shooting Sports Foundation versus New York Attorney General Letitia James. At the center of the dispute is a New York law that allows lawsuits against members of the firearm industry under a so-called public nuisance theory. Critics argue the law is designed to do something gun control advocates have struggled to accomplish through legislation. Instead of banning firearms directly, they can target the companies that manufacture, distribute, and sell them. The strategy is very simple. If you can't eliminate the product, make it so expensive and legally risky to sell that companies eventually cannot survive. Supporters of the law say that it helps hold the industry accountable. Opponents say it's an attempt to blame lawful businesses for the criminal action of people that they don't control. Congress already addressed this issue years ago when it passed the Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, often called the PLCAA. The law was specifically intended to stop lawsuits that sought to hold gun manufacturers responsible for crimes committed by third parties using legally sold firearms. Gun rights advocates argue that New York's law is simply a new version of the same strategy Congress already rejected, just with a different label attached to it. Instead of calling it product liability, they call it a public nuisance. But critics say that the goal remains exactly the same: use litigation to punish the firearms industry for lawful conduct. Here is the important part. The Supreme Court did not rule that New York's law is constitutional. The court did not say the law is legal, and it did not endorse the Second Circuit's reasoning. It simply declined to hear the case at this stage. But that decision still matters because it leaves New York's law in place. It leaves the lower court ruling intact, and it sends a signal that other anti-gun states may interpret as permission to pursue similar laws. So I can guarantee you this fight is far from over. Future lawsuits brought under New York's law can still be challenged individually. If the state or private attorneys use the statute in ways that conflict with federal law, those cases can still work their way through the courts. In other words, as applied, challenges are almost certainly coming. And eventually, the Supreme Court may be forced to confront the issue directly. But for now, the gun industry is facing a reality that many saw coming. The legal battlefield is becoming just as important as the legislative one. I really apologize for the background noise. For gun owners, this isn't the end of the fight, but it is a reminder of how modern gun control efforts often work. When outright bans face constitutional problems, the focus shifts to lawsuits. When Congress creates protections, opponents look for new legal theories. And whenever the Supreme Court declines to intervene, states pushing those strategies may see it as an encouragement to go even further. The court may have passed on this case, but the battle over New York's law and the future of the firearm industry is far from over. I want you to sound off in the comments right now. What do you think of this decision? Do you think the Supreme Court made the right call? Do you believe that they missed an opportunity? What do you think is going to be the reaction in other states against the Second Amendment? Or was this simply a procedural step before a bigger showdown later on? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Second Amendment news and analysis. I will be covering this very closely as the news comes out. And as always, I will see you in the next one.